Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Health IT Playground, where we talk about all things health IT and HIM. All right. So, if you've never been here before, welcome. Feel free to subscribe. It's free, I promise. And I'm excited because we have an amazing guest here today that is going to be talking to you about medical coding. And not only does he have a lot of experience, he also has a new book. I'm just going to show you. This lovely thing right here is a book that is currently on Amazon. I had a chance to read it. It is amazing. And we're going to talk more about this book and why you should consider taking it, buying it, because it will teach you a lot of information about what it takes and how to successfully be a medical coder. But before I get started, I'm going to just read his bio. I don't want to miss anything for you guys. So listen up, okay? Alvin R. Cureton Jr. He is a certified medical coding professional, healthcare educator, and the founder of Success Med Coders Blueprint LLC. And this is a career education brand that was built to help aspiring medical coders navigate the path from certification to employment. He holds not one, not two, but three industry credentials. He has his CPC, his COC, which is a certified outpatient coder certification, and he also has a certified professional medical auditor, which is CPMA for those that don't know. He's also an AAPC approved coding instructor. Okay, so he has over a decade of experience in the healthcare revenue cycle, and he has also worked across the business side of healthcare in roles that has given him a clear view of what actually should happen in order to be successful in this field. So not just how to code, guys, but also just how to build a successful career. He does have his first book out called So You Want to Be a Medical Coder, out now on Amazon. And this is his passion project, and it is a resource that he is hoping and wishing existed when he was actually building his own career. Now he has put it into the hands of anyone who wants and has the same questions that he had, which is, how do I get into medical coding? So, with that being said, please give him a round of applause from your screens and welcome with me here, Alvin R. Cureton Jr. So, thank you so much for being on the Health IT Playground. We're very excited to have you. Very excited.
Thank you so much, Juliette. I appreciate the introduction, and it's a pleasure being with you today.
Awesome. Awesome. And I have a lot of questions, so I am going to just jump right into this. And for my audience here, you guys know I always start off with the same question, which is, how did you actually discover or identify health IT, or in this case, HIM? So, how did you discover this field?
Yes, thank you, Juliette. So I started my healthcare career actually as an EMT back in 2009. And I enjoyed the hands-on work of being in the field and providing emergency care for those patients who needed it. But at some point, I wanted to expand beyond direct to patient care. So I looked into other fields such as nursing, did consider nursing school briefly, MA and things of the sort before I settled on medical billing and coding. I looked into what it took to become a medical biller, medical coder, and I noticed that the time commitment, honestly, beyond high school really appealed to me. You could get into it with very little commitment past high school. So I began taking courses in billing and coding. Then after that, I started in patient registration. So I didn't start as a coder immediately, but I started in patient registration, verifying insurance coverages, things of that sort. And eventually I continued my study on the coding end, and then I earned my CPC in 2016. For the next few years, I worked as an outpatient facility coder, coding ERs and clinics. And then eventually I transitioned into medical auditing, and that's where I am now. So what I appreciate about healthcare IT, I'm still part of patient care, just in a different room, so to speak.
Yes, yes. And you mentioned that you are an auditor now. And for those that are watching and that have no idea what the difference is between a coder and an auditor, can you explain what that difference is?
Sure. So a coder reviews the documentation and assigns the ICD-10 and CPC billing codes. But as an auditor, we're
Okay.
more focused on the accuracy of the code. As a clinical provider auditor, what we're looking for is to make sure that coding guidelines are applied consistently. We're looking for such things as fraud, waste, and abuse to protect our patients and to protect the healthcare system as a whole. And so, what we're doing is we're more concerned with the accuracy of the code.
And this is just a question I'm wondering for myself personally. Have you ever discovered during your time, I know you can't share details, obviously, but have you ever in your experience had a case or I don't know, a chart, a patient record or whatever, or seen or identified fraud before?
Yeah, we do come across a lot of interesting things where perhaps the chart was upcoded, where it was given a higher billing code than the documentation warranted. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the provider is fraudulent per se. Perhaps sometimes they just don't know. And that's the job of a coder and an auditor to help them understand what can and can't be coded. But we all know sometimes, despite providing that education, these things persist. Then it kind of gets into the fraud waters. It becomes now more I didn't know, and to where now it's becoming a habitual practice.
Yes, I just remember learning about upcoding and all the different things that can happen when you are in that environment and just all the penalties and just learning about how to address those things. So it's great to talk to someone that's actually utilizing all of those practices today. So I think that's just really cool. It's not just words in a book, like people actually utilize it day to day in their work. And this kind of leads to my next question. What is in your opinion, just the best part about what you currently do in your role? What is it about it that just brings excitement to you to want to wake up and go?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I'm a person who loves puzzles and the investigative work. And so being able to solve various things, look at something, put the pieces together and get a bigger picture of something. And so kind of that investigative, that puzzle piecing, that's what I enjoy most about it. And it really keeps you active, keeps your mind going, and you always got to be on your toes, so to speak, when it comes to that.
Awesome. And I don't want to miss the fact that you do have a business outside of being an auditor, right? You have this entire LLC. And so, what inspired you to take that step? That's entrepreneurship, right? So, what was that drive that pushed you in that direction?
Yeah, and the thing with entrepreneurship, it can be scary at first, just breaking out on your own. But what pushed me was a desire to help others. Many people have asked me, how do I get into coding? Or I'm struggling finding a position. And so paying it forward was the thing for me, sharing the knowledge that I had of how I got into this field and wanting to be of service to others kind of gave me that extra boost and that extra push to start my own business to help others interested in coding become medical coders themselves.
Awesome. And I did have a chance, like I mentioned earlier in the introduction, to actually read this book from front to back. And This is, in my opinion, the book that I think every school should have for students that want to become a coder or even just should be part of the curriculum, in my opinion, because it gave a very clear, vivid timeline on how to go from considering being a medical coder all the way to actually passing your exam and looking for that job, and even giving tips on just like how to fix your resume, just tips on even just how to go for your interviews and just what to do and what not to do. It's just a really good book. And yeah, for anyone that is watching, once again, if you are thinking about being a medical coder or you're not really sure, or you're maybe are already a medical coder, already maybe took your exam and you're struggling to figure out kind of how to get that first job, there is a lot of great tips in here that he does share about how to actually get things going. My question for you is, what motivated you to actually write this book? I know that you mentioned that you wish that you had something like this when you were starting up, but what pushed you to actually say, you know what, let me just write this book? What was that for?
Yes. Thank you for asking, Juliette. I would get questions often. How do I become a medical coder? How do I get into coding? And I often hear these stories that people would share with me about how they got training, they got certified, but they couldn't land a position as a coder. Some people have struggled for years. There was this one coworker I had. She was actually my supervisor when I was in patient registration. She told me that she had her coding certification for 8 years, but had never worked one day as a coder. And I thought to myself, wow, that's something, especially since she has the healthcare background, but she still struggled to get into coding. And so what inspired me to write this book was to help others to take to pause and to see how it's possible to get into this field. I actually had to stop and think, did I get in through luck? And I even had someone tell me once that I was lucky when I explained that I was a coder and how they tried so long to get in and wasn't able to. And so they'll say, oh, wow, you're lucky. And now, I personally don't believe in luck, but I can understand why people would see it that way. You work hard, you get the training, you get the certification, but then things aren't happening for you in the time you expect. And then it seems like other people can walk right through the door. And so the reason I wrote So You Want to Be a Medical Coder, I wanted to replace luck, as it were, with a consistent, repeatable strategy. And that's the difference. It's not so much luck, but it's about having the right strategy and the right expectations. And that's what was the driving force behind the book.
You shared a lot of strategy in the book. I don't want you to give it all away, but can you just provide just one strategy for the viewers of this interview in terms of what they should do if they are struggling to find that next role? Just one. You have a lot of them in your book, but just one.
Sure. One I mentioned was volunteering in a medical records department. It's something I did. I volunteered for about 3, 4 hours a week, filing medical records. And that led me to get interview opportunities. And I was able to share that on my resume that I had volunteered with the medical records department and have had that exposure to health IT.
I know that you went from EMT to now being at that desk helping with registration to now being a coder. What happened? What exposure did you see, or what was that feeling that happened that drove you to want to pursue auditing?
Sure. In those roles, when I would review the medical records, I would see how the ICD-10 and CPT codes interact together. I would see how insurance was verified and how insurance policies and payer provider policies interact together. And so I decided that after a few years of coding, that my next path would be auditing because now I wanted to get deeper into the records and putting those pieces together. I was always the type when I was younger who would take things apart and try to put it back together. And so that's stuck with me throughout my life, taking things apart and piecing them back together.
I loved how you're pulling all of these just normal childhood experiences and realizing how it connects to your career now. So, for someone watching right now who really has no idea if they should actually be a medical coder, if that's something that would fit them, how would you describe the ideal individual that would be successful as a medical coder?
Yeah, definitely someone who can work independently, someone who doesn't mind working by themselves because you're going to be independent a lot, even if you're in an office. Now, I work remotely primarily, but even if you're a hybrid or you're 100% in office, a lot of times you will have to be able to work independently with minimal supervision. So a person who is a self-starter, who doesn't mind being independent, someone who has lots of attention to detail, who doesn't mind getting into the minutia of things, that would be an ideal coder. Someone who is data driven, who doesn't mind looking at data and piecing it together, that could also be an ideal coder.
Okay. And just to add on to that, because I know some folks' heads are spinning over here, is that the same things or traits that a medical biller would have? Or is there something that kind of separates the two? In just in your opinion?
Oh, sure. A medical biller would need a lot of those same traits, but but more so than the coder is that customer service focus because you are going to be on the phone with patients and providers and when that patient gets that bill that they weren't expecting, and we've all gotten them, myself included, but
Yes.
they get that bill, they get that bill they weren't expecting, and they're calling you. You gotta have that. You gotta have that patience, that empathy for them to understand that hey, they may be working with a limited set of funds, and that that bill was sticker shock for them. So having that customer service focus, having that love for people, that empathy for people, definitely on the medical billing.
Yeah. Got you. And I do want to talk more about the Success Med Coders business that you have. And what exactly could someone gain from investing their time, their money, their efforts into your business? Like, what are you offering clients there?
Sure. So currently, what we're doing is we're offering different workbooks and worksheets and strategies to help you land a coding position once you get your certification. Eventually, we're going to offer certification training. We're still working on putting that together. But right now, I have different worksheets, workbooks, and different tips on there that can help you get your first coding position or if you're struggling to land a position, let's say you work as a nurse or you work in some other area of healthcare
Mhm.
and you've been hitting that wall of you need experience, have tools there that can help you, that can teach you how to bypass those things so that you can get where you want to be.
Awesome. And with all this being said, what I'm getting from all of the things that your company offers is one thing, and that's mentorship. And so, what role does mentorship play when it comes to helping aspiring coders transition from education to employment?
Yeah, thank you. It plays a huge role. I'll say this plainly. I wouldn't be where I am today without the good mentors that took the time to train me, that took the time to guide and direct me. So mentorship is huge. And that's kind of what I want Success Med to be, that place that not only just trains you to get a certification, but that also mentors you when it comes to the job search aspect. So mentorship is huge.
Yes, and your presence on LinkedIn is amazing. I love seeing aspiring coders and even those that have passed that are asking questions or just seeking advice, and you always give them great information. So if you have not, this is something he didn't even know I was going to even do. But if you are on LinkedIn, or if you're not, please make an account. It's free. But if you are on there, definitely find him and follow him, because he does provide a lot of great insight to those that are looking for advice on there. So just check them out. Just shameless plug here. But aside from that, what are some trends that you think that new coders need to pay attention to? Because right now, and I read this in your book about how everyone's afraid of AI, but you had such a great response to that. What are the trends aside from AI? What are some trends and things that people should look out for, not just in healthcare, but also just in revenue cycle in general?
Yeah, one of the trends that people should be aware of is when it comes to government audits, such as Medicare and Medicaid. They're closely watching certain things to make sure that the coding lines up with the policies and the regulations. So that's definitely something to watch out for. And AI for sure. Yeah, and I go back to the AI. Yeah, that's the biggest trend. Be working with AI instead of against it, because it's not going to replace coders, but it will replace coders who don't adapt to it. And so the key is to get familiar with those tools, because a lot of the government payers, such as Medicare and Medicaid, they're going to be using AI too. And so this is how they're going to be looking for some of these things, but there still has to be a human behind it to validate and to catch what's missed by a computer or a bot. Just be on the lookout for AI, increased use of AI, and also stricter crackdown on some of the bigger areas of fraud, waste, and abuse in healthcare, especially when it comes to DME.
I love that. And you are absolutely correct, because even I'm not a coder, obviously, but I do work in this health IT space. And I'm seeing even in job interviews, or even just the actual descriptions for jobs, they want folks now that have the ability to use AI, because now it's a plus. You will still do your job, but they want you to be able to navigate it and utilize it to make your efforts better, right? So this is happening across the board, not just medical coding. So everyone should just gear up, take that AI course, whatever that you need to do just to keep up with the times. I totally agree with that, 1,000%. Now, do you see yourself? I know right now you are an auditor. Do you see yourself navigating in a different direction, or kind of evolving from this space? Or are you really good right now with just within your auditor role?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I had to think about that myself, because I really enjoy the auditing aspect,
Yeah.
and I hope to be able to do it for as long as I can. But I do see myself evolving into training the next generation of auditors. I do see that, because that's
Okay.
something I would like to offer eventually through Success Med. Not just certification for coding, but also certification for auditing. So I would say that maybe training the next generation of medical auditors.
I love that. This is the book. So definitely check it out. It's on Amazon. If you are looking to be a coder and you don't know where to start, or you are already in the process, this book definitely will address a lot more than what we've covered so far. And for those that are watching me right now and they're like, listen, I love what he's saying. This is great. What are the best places, platforms to find and connect with you?
Sure. LinkedIn for sure. Alvin R. Cureton Jr., CPC, COC, CPMA, the whole alphabet soup after the name.
Yes.
You can also email me at alvin at Success Med. That's Success, MED, Odor. And definitely my website, successmedcoders.com, SUCCESSMED coders, CODERCODERS.com, Success Med Coders, all one word. Those are the main places to connect with me. LinkedIn, successmedcoders.com, and email me as well.
Awesome. And just so you guys know, there is going to be a giveaway for this book that I'm holding right now in my hands. So if you're watching this video and hopefully it hasn't passed, it's not an old video for you, but I will be giving away a copy of this book. It's amazing. So for details on that, please find us, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Find us because all the details on how to get this book, this free copy, will be posted there. So before we end, I wanted to do something really fun. I wanted to play a little game. It's just 3 questions. It is called This or That. And so how this is going to work is I am going to ask you whether you prefer this or that. And then you would just share what you would prefer. So, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. So, the first one is going to be, do you prefer cats or dogs?
Cats. I
Right.
got two of them.
Okay, okay, yeah, 2 cats. Okay, that makes sense. Cats, okay. Do you prefer mountains or beach?
I would say beach.
Why?
Yeah, I'm a warm weather person. I love watching water and sunrise, and mountains are too cold for me. Anywhere where the temperature is below 50 degrees would not get along with me. So definitely beach.
Okay. And this last one is going to be related to this whole industry of medical coding, auditing, whatever. So, this or that, do you prefer medical coding or auditing? This or that.
Tough one.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask why. This,
Obviously. I would say medical coding. Even though I
oh,
have an
why?
auditor and I enjoy auditing, I will say medical coding because you're actually getting into the right, you're taking what in the medical record and you're translating it into the code. See, as an auditor, everything's already translated for you. You just want to make sure it's translated correctly. But as a coder, you're actually doing the translation.
Yeah, you love puzzles. You love puzzles, so that makes sense. Perfect. Okay, thank you for playing this and that. And thank you for being a guest on the Health IT Playground. We appreciate your presence. And guys, please, like I said, follow him. I'm going to place in this description all of his contact information, how to find him, the book, Success, Code Meds, everything is going to be listed for you guys to find. So follow him, ask questions, reach out to him. And thank you guys for watching the Health IT Playground. And I will see you guys somewhere on social media as always. So take care and bye, everybody.